What's going on, my fellow rock and rollers? Now, we always hear about the term home court advantage when it comes to sports, but does that really extend to music? Well, it sort of does. Back in 1999, Slipknot was an up-and-coming metal band who was about to take off in a huge way. And 1999 saw the band release their self-titled debut record through label Roadrunner Records, and it would start a long and sometimes troubling career for the band. Now, in September of that year, Slipknot was on tour as part of their Livin' La Vida Loco tour, and they would make a stop in Cleveland, Ohio. And also joining the band on that tour was Cold Chamber, Machine Head, and Amen. And that night in Cleveland didn't go as planned. What happened? You'll find out in today's video. Now, Slipknot singer Corey Taylor revealed what happened that night, telling a crowd who attended one of his solo concerts years later, "People came down and threw everything but rocks at us. They hit Paul Gray in the face with an effing padlock the size of my fist while we were on stage. When we got done playing, we took all of our stuff off and went into the audience. There were a lot of them, but there was 9 of us. There was Machine Head and all of our friends in Amen. Let's just say we handled it right there," he'd conclude. Now, former Slipknot bassist Paul Gray would tell Revolver magazine his version of the events that night, saying, "Me and Jim Root jumped off stage and took our masks off and started swinging at people at the end of one song. When we were done with that set, everything came off. And one of the guys in our crew got maced by the cops and arrested." So why did the crowd turn on Slipknot? Well, it was the band's first time in Cleveland, and Cleveland was the home of another band that shared some similarities to Slipknot, and that band was Mushroomhead. Now, Mushroomhead, like Slipknot, also wore masks and boiler suits, and Mushroomhead claimed to have been around longer than Slipknot, and as the fans in Cleveland saw it, Slipknot had ripped off their hometown heroes. Now, while Slipknot was the bigger of the two bands, Mushroomhead would hit the scene 4 years prior in 1995 with their debut record, and fans in Cleveland were more than a little annoyed at how the band seemed to appropriate their hometown heroes. Now, the rivalry really began in 1998 when Slipknot inked a 7-album deal with metal label Roadrunner Records. Now, it would be ironic that in 1997, Roadrunner had pursued Mushroomhead to sign with them, but the band turned them down. Former Mushroomhead frontman Jeff Hatrix would tell an interviewer in 2018, "Roadrunner had a guy shopping us, and at the time we were making more at local shows than they were offering us in advance, and they wanted all of our merch, and the money just didn't make any sense." In a separate interview, Hatrix would go on to blast Slipknot, saying, "They are Roadrunner invented clones of us, and everybody knows it." Drummer Steve Skinny Felton was a little more hostile towards Slipknot, telling an interviewer that the band traded a platinum record for dignity, honor, and respect. He'd go on to say, "Corey Taylor says you cannot kill what you did not create. Maybe so, but I guess you sure as hell can sell what you stole," he'd conclude. Local magazine The Cleveland Scene would ask Roadrunner Records to comment on the feud, but the label would respond with a statement, "I honestly couldn't care less about your article and I have nothing to say." Now, in the years that followed the incident in Cleveland, the members of Slipknot and Mushroomhead would trade jabs in the press. Now, in May of 2002's issue of Rock Sound, Corey Taylor would accuse Mushroomhead of promoting violence amongst their fans, while Mushroomhead, for their part, didn't deny these allegations. Hatrix would admit that the band played a part in the 1999 Cleveland concert, saying, "I know all the people who did it, and I did personally paint their Cleveland supports Mushroomhead and Slipknot go home signs, but I wasn't there and I didn't know the complete extent of what they were going to do. But hey, these guys are men, right? Welcome to Cleveland, bitches." Now, Hatrix would go on to accuse the band and their crew of harassing his girlfriend, who just happened to be wearing a Mushroomhead shirt near the gig that night. And in 2005, Mushroomhead would dress up as Slipknot at several concerts in Ohio, mocking the band. And several concertgoers who attended the shows would tell Blabbermouth people started chanting "F Slipknot." Now, the anger hadn't subsided on Mushroomhead's side, as 2 years later in 2007, the band continued to mock Slipknot, throwing around words like "straight up frauds," and perhaps the most brutal insult of all, referring to Slipknot as the NSYNC of heavy metal. Now, Slipknot would take more of a diplomatic route, as Corey Taylor would tell an interviewer in 2005, "I'm tired of it," referring to the feud. "We've tried everything we could to quash this between ourselves and Mushroomhead. I've even come out and said I wish them nothing but luck. I don't care, it's not that big of a deal to me," he'd conclude. But things seemed to take a turn for the better in 2010 following the death of Slipknot bassist Paul Gray. The members of Mushroomhead would send their condolences to Slipknot both privately and publicly, and since 2010, Corey Taylor has stated that he is in fact open to touring with Mushroomhead and wanting to see a bigger tour extended to other masked rockers including Mudvayne and Gwar. So that concludes today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like button and subscribe, And as always, if you have suggestions for future topics, let me know in the comment section below. Take care.